Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Jamsys, back at it again after like 2 weeks because your boy is busy with his new job. But yeah, the new unit Laia came out, and on preview I thought she would be like kind of mid because she's kind of an honest unit, but then people realized if you just combine Laia with the broken turn resetters, you can just turn reset people over and over again, which is like incredibly hilarious. It reminds me of when Poultice was set to kill Cleave because she countered Alots and Flan, but the Alots and Flan Cleaver just picked up Poultice. But we're just gonna test out Laia today. That was my build. She's nothing too special. She just needs speed, HP, and bulk in like defense, so it's like very easy to build her. Ideally, I would try to push like 10 more speed onto her, but like even with that like kind of janky build that I didn't want to ungear anyone for, she worked quite well, as I'll demonstrate. But yeah, if you like my content, please like and subscribe. I have a Discord that I'm like decently active in, and there's like people in there, so that's always fun. But we first pick Laia, as you do in a showcase video, and then my opponent, god I hate this unit, picks Urban Shadow Shu because Urban Shadow Shu is like the new queen of standard next to DDR because she just like solo DPS's teams. But my opponent kind of misread the situation. They thought Laia would be picked into standard, but I was like, no, that shit's way too boring. We're gonna pick Laia into aggro, so we pick a broken turn resetter in Lua, and we pick Bdom because we like pushing up with our abilities. My opponent picks DDR and Luca, which again, like they're gravely misreading this situation because I can just pick really aggressively here. I think Jacko was a mistake. If I picked like a LQC or something in the 5th position, I think that would have been really nice. But you know, it is what it is. We're not gonna think too deeply on that. We picked Jacko just because like it's a decent bridge into Lua, but if they just ban what's her face? If they just ban Lua and this ML Shu is like 280 or something, they're just gonna one-shot my whatever. But I just end up banning Lucar because cleansers, like I'm really not afraid of this Midnight Galileus. My opponent ends up grabbing first turn with their Celias, which is not that surprising. But the important part is that ML Shu actually does outspeed my 270 Bdom, so it like unironically is like a 275 ML Shu or something, which is very disgusting, by the way. A unit that is able to solo out teams that gives themselves speed buff, so they're like 350 speed. Kind of disgusting, but as I predicted, Jacko just gets blown up here, which is like whatever. This pick definitely should have been like an LQC or something. But since we got rid of Ocean Breeze, we're able to just push our buttons here. And Laia's turn comes up first, and we're able to actually make use of our S1 pull here because I either pull Hua and one-shot this Midnight Galileus, or I pull Bdom and put this Midnight Gala to sleep. And now that Midnight Gala is able to be put to sleep, now we just blow up this DDR because I don't want to deal with that right now. And my opponent is still unable to push their buttons on Celius because I just have like unconditional cleansers out the ass. And yeah, we didn't use Laia's S2 because we were already at the top of the CR bar thanks to Bdom, and I wasn't going to CD reset anything, so there was no reason to press it. But now that Hwayoung actually has used her S3, we're able to use Laia's S2 to get like bonus cycling. And I think that's the one thing holding Hwayoung back from being a real unit. Like if she had like the S1 CR push, so she could actually cycle back into her S3 faster, she would be a much better unit. But she's still pretty usable. But yeah, as I said, we like blow up this Midnight Galileus with her innate tooth damage. My opponent finally decides to go for the S3, which I think if they were just gonna go for it, they should have gone for it like 3 turns ago. But never mind. My opponent like continues to focus into Laia, and I think that's the one big benefit about Laia in aggressive comps is that Laia is like a tank because she's built so bulky, and so she's perfect to hide like standees behind or like guiding light DPS, and you just constantly pull them. So I heard that was a really good comp with like Stenny or Milim, but I kind of forgot when I was recording this video, so there's no footage of that. But just imagine that Jacko pick with Stenny, like this game would have been over like 30 turns ago. But that's fine. I go with a S3 into Hwayoung into Celius because a lot of these like gross ML rats are built on Proof of Valor, and if I miss the kill on ML Shu here, the game is basically over. So I have to play it really safe and hope that I'm able to cycle with Bdom and Hwayoung into ML Shu, like faster than ML Shu is able to cycle into her stuff, which is like kind of a tall order when this ML rat is like 280 speed. But we're gonna try anyway. We continue to try and put this ML rat to sleep, and we do get lucky. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I think Bunny Dom's at like 3 for 3 out of sleeps, but it is a 70% chance, and I think my B Dom has like 50 F, so like not the most RNG. But a fun fact about during this recording of this video, my Hwayong was not actually max mullet on S2, so this game is a lot closer than it had to be, because if I just max mullet Hwayong's S2, this game would have been like Jover, because Hwayong is able to tank the crit from Shu a lot better, but we like barely live. We barely live, and we're able to get the S3 off. And yeah, Laia really was like the MVP of this match. She prevented any CC from being put down, she pulled important targets, and then she helped Hwayong cycle. And I think that's like the most important part. It's like she's like a Fire Lilias as a Lua counter that's strictly better if the Lua is not being aggressive. But if the Lua is aggressive, I think Laia's a little bit too honest, because she doesn't CR push or anything. She doesn't do anything out of turn like CR push like Sage Ball, or she doesn't apply like the skill nulls and immunities like B-Dom. So if you pick bridges into Laia does nothing, because you can just kill the entire team around Laia, and then Laia's just by herself, and Laia can't solo DPS against 4 aggressive units, which is incredibly funny. But she is pretty good into like DDR and stuff, so I guess that's like a plus, because she's an unconditional cleanser. Even though she is hurt a bit by the injury, she enables the rest of your team to not die, which is like not bad. But there's also the case where DDR can just press S2 and then injure you down to oblivion, which is also like, which is why DDR is like so broken. Like, but yeah, in the second match, I pick Laia, and my opponent goes for like Steny B-Dom. And I don't feel like playing standard into that, because like Steny's eventually going to run me over with B-Dom. So I decide to go really aggressive here with Lua and Zio. And one good thing about Laia is that she helps these like, there's a bunch of units that have like odd timings in their cycling, such as Milim or Zio, where they have like 1 turn of downtime before they get their defensive buffs back up. And Laia can help in that, but like, to be honest, like how often do you see Zios get enough turns that they get out of Deity, like the special buff he gets? Like, not that many, but it could happen, I don't know. My opponent picks FCC here plus Landy, and this is like a really old age build where it's like Steny, Landy, FCC plus supports. But you know, I'm racking my brain how to think about it. I kind of want to pick Politis here, but I think Politis isn't enough damage because FCC's here. I pick Flitica just because Flitica's good into like the top 3, not Steny, but like it's good into the other 3. And for the last pick, I kind of want to pick Bryceria, but Bryceria doesn't do enough damage, especially against an FCC behind Unbuffable, and I didn't really pick that many DPS units, so that's kind of weird. But I do end up picking Carrot, because Carrot on paper is really good because she strips buffs. She is able to tank Steny and Landy, but she kills them through burns, which is pretty good. And yeah, I couldn't pick DDR or anything just because of B-Dom existing, which kind of sucks. But my opponent decides to go and pick DDR, which is like, eh. But I have so many turn resetters, I'm honestly not bothered by this DDR at all. So I go for the very, very monkey cleave. We ban mid and go. My opponent decides to ban Flitica here because I think they were expecting me to ban something else, like the DDR or something. But oh no, I didn't care about that, because on this channel we're aggro monkeys. But it turns out our opponent is Valky, which is pretty cool. I faced him a few times. He likes, from what I remember, he likes like the FCC Steny kind of drafts, which I find like a little bit hard to deal with at times if you're not like aggroing them down. But luckily I am able to do that here. But we push back B-Dom, we reset, and again, like my whole team is at the front of the CR bar, and I kind of wanted to save the cycling for Carrot, so I decided to hold Laia S2. We just go for the S1 into bonus strip damage to Landy. And if you didn't notice, my opponent had like, Valky had immunity on everything, which is like incredibly disturbing behavior, by the way. If you farm that much immunity gear, like what? How are you not in the Wyvern or Banshee mines? But like, I guess it's just a difference in player skill issue. But this Landy somehow is like 16k HP, which is also very disgusting. And they're able to survive the carrot S1 duel into like double carrot burns, which kind of sucks. But luckily it does look like the burns next turn or the beguile is gonna kill them, which is pretty nice. And then Stenny is able to go, and it looks like Stenny is able to survive the double burns too, because the Stenny is also bulky, which is like so disturbing. Like any regular Stenny should have been dead to my carrot by now. My carrot has like 4.5k attack. Like it would be so fucking for real. But whatever. They all in on Zio, which is like doesn't matter. Zio is just there to contest first turn and provide book, so we don't really care about that. B-Dom is still reset, thankfully, so she's just gonna go for the S1 onto something that she doesn't like and pray for a duel, I guess. Lua's taking a lot of punishment actually, but my Lua's actually a tank, which is like a very funny meme that that if you watch me for any while has been a giant meme for. But yeah, DDR is actually able to go for the S3 into S2, which is very annoying. But it's fine because Laia is an unconditional cleanser. Like I think that's like her big niche. She's like an unconditional cleanser with good tempo. Like she just falls into the trap of hand guy where in pure turn 2 versus turn 2 she has like insane value, but against like turn 1 contesters she doesn't have as much value, unfortunately, because they tend to out-tempo her. But my carrot's actually on Edica Scepter, so if I got Edica Scepter, the Stenny would have been like toasted by now, but unfortunately it didn't proc because it's not a real artifact. So we just kind of slowly killing this Stenny. I think this Stenny is going to die to like one more burn from this carrot passive, and that's why she's not hitting carrot, even though he could try to put like carrot to sleep with DDR. I think that's why, because Stenny's not going to survive another burn from passive, but we get the S3 back thanks to Liia cycling, and we're able to just like roast his team into charcoal, and now it's DDR solo DPS, and I was so excited to see Laia's S3 animation. Falky decides to FF, which is like, man, I played like 15 games with Laia, by the way, and I didn't get to see her S3 once. Maybe it's because I was playing with like really aggressive teams, so people just like FF when I like delete their team, and then I CD reset them to do it again, but that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, like if you're looking for the Laia S3 animation, it just doesn't happen. Like she's very cute, I like the S3 animation, but like the cards just did not line up. But yeah, I think Laia really helps these like pump and dump units too, such as Hwayoung or Midnight Galilius. So, like Midnight Galilius is not a pump and dump unit, but her S3 is like really strong into teams it's good into, and Hwayoung, you know, and LQC, like fast LQC also struggles with like they have dead turns because, you know, they S3 and they don't really have anything, but Laia helps alleviate that effect, especially with Soul Burn. LQC is able to S3 very often, which is like very detrimental to the enemy team if she's actually able to get it off on a speed build. But this match, I'm gonna do something that I love to do. Okay, so this C. Lilius pick should have been like anything else, by the way. This C. Lilius pick should have been like LQC, Aiden, even Midnight Galilius. Maybe not Midnight Galilius, but like literally anything else. But I want to torture my opponent with debuffs. So if you remember to my DDR re-debut video where I roped someone with basically DDR and 3 openers, we're gonna do that, except it's with Liia this time, so we can see cooldowns back earlier. But this is one of the really fun things you can do with Laia, because Laia is good into units that like really benefit from the cooldown decrease. And what units are those? Fast openers that cycle, that debuff people. Like you can do this with like F10A, Payra, units that like cycle disgustingly fast. We banned Christie because like we're trying to CC our team down. And judging by our opponent's speed, it looks like my opponent's speed is like all built on ER, but unfortunately for him, my C. Lilius has 250 effectiveness and my DDR has 200 effectiveness. Then this is without DDR's effectiveness buff, so like he's getting CC'd whether he likes it or not. This Hwayoung looks like it's unironically like incredibly high ER somehow. It's resisting everything, but it doesn't really matter because we still have multiple strippers. Like this Hwayoung somehow is living in ways that I like am very confused about. I decided to hold Celius S2 just so I can get the full value from DDR's S3, because like there's no point putting something to sleep and redirect provoking it, but maybe I should have done it anyway. just to get the cycling off. Like, look at this. Look at how Hwayoung is still able to resist things, which I'm like very confused about. But yeah, we reset everyone's cooldowns here with Laia, and then we're gonna lap because we see our push so much with her team, and speed buff's really broken. And to help our cycling even more, we're gonna press S2 on Hwayoung and put her to sleep, and we're gonna wake up ML Shu because she's the least threatening person on this team, I think. And just because we can put her back to sleep with DDR in like 2 seconds, or just redirect Provoker with Celius. But yeah, my team technically has like half a DPS in DDR, but we're able to actually win because we would have controlled him. Like he had everything. He had attack down, he had a sleep, venom, beguile, just yeah. We gave him all the STDs, which is like very fun. But we're gonna go into last match, which is where I highlight Laia's weaknesses. And I think one of Laia's biggest weaknesses is that she's a very honest unit. Like she's good, like don't get me wrong, but she doesn't do enough, I think, in the face of aggression. And I'm gonna demonstrate that here. I first pick Lua to bait in the Laia pick because like new unit comes out that counters Lua, quote unquote. It's like heard that a few times before. And my opponent picks. No, my opponent first picked Laia. Sorry, I'm like tripping. But I picked Lua Zio into it just to demonstrate, because like the thing about Lua, like I've been saying, not Lua, the thing about Lua is that she's very flexible, and that's the part of why that makes her broken. Because like the reason units like Celius and Lua don't have good counters is because they're so flexible, because their kit already has so much. If you want to design a unit that hard counters Celius and Lua to like the nth degree, to the point where they're unplayable, that unit will also counter like 90% of Epic 7's roster, just because like they have to target so many things. They have to target CC, they have to target free extra turn, they have to target debuff, skill reset, which is just like a very, very toxic unit on paper. So when they release units like Laia, it's just like not great because they don't cover enough bases. But you know, I still think she's solid. Like I definitely think you should still pull her. And you should try to go for multiple copies of her artifact, because I think that artifact is pretty good, because having an unconditional cleanse on a artifact is kind of broken, especially since most debuffs that are like really debilitating, like stuns or silences, are only 1 turn. So that's really important. My opponent here is not picking correctly. Like they're picking Ocean Breeze and stuff into Lua Zio, which is definitely not what you're going for. My opponent picks Bellion here, so I decide to pick like ML Ludwig, since Riza from my Discord server, like shout out to you, wanted to see some Godric gameplay, but like I don't know, Godric gameplay, he's a good unit, but I feel like his gameplay is like really boring. You pick him into drafts where you corner them into letting Godric through somehow, and then he just deletes the team, or he doesn't do enough damage and you die, which is like also not that uncommon when you're facing Carmen teams. But yeah, my opponent picks Destina, and like what is Destina gonna do here? I last picked Hwayoung because Hwayoung hard counters like this entire draft. Maybe not Bellion, but we're just gonna ban her anyway. So we ban Bellion. So my opponent ends up banning Hwayoung here, but I don't think it mattered what he banned, because if he banned ML Ludwig, I just would have S3'd Destina with Zio and then soul burned on Lua, and then I would have a debuff to actually ram the Jacko S3 into Destina and then kill on a miss with Hwayoung on Aiden. So it would have been fine either way. But yeah, we're actually able to set up the ML Ludwig plays, and we push back Laia with Zio, since Laias have 0 ER. We blow her up with Jacko. Cool. And we actually go proc Guardian Ice Crystals here on Ocean Breeze Luluka, and Lua's able to go, except Lua's just here for fun. But yeah, like this is what I mean. Like Laia does really bad into Cleave, Laia does really bad into really heavy aggression. She's decent into like Monk and Lua, but she's like really weak into Politica because she just gets full reset. And then her S2 does nothing, and she's forced to dual attack. She's bad into like closer Charles, Ran, like those kind of aggressive plays too, which kind of sucks. She's also bad into like Beat 'em, because Beat 'em just pushes everyone above her. But yeah, here's the ML Godward gameplay. But yeah, I do apologize for the lack of uploads. I've just been like very tired from working 45 hours at my new job. I'm like still working that out. But we are on our way to get a really nice computer. So like hopefully production quality goes up. Like maybe a mic too. Or like at least a mic stand. So like the sound quality is a bit better. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching. And I'll catch y'all next time. Hope you guys are living lavish. Peace.